Hi, I'm Dr. Chambers, and today I'm going to speak with you very briefly about K-12 online learning. Online learning is defined as teacher-led education that takes place over the internet with the teacher and students separated geographically. We have two major types of online learning, supplemental and full-time, and then two major vehicles for online learning, virtual classrooms, or also known as virtual schools, and then blended learning. A little bit about virtual schools. These schools work with students who are enrolled primarily with an online program. So either all or more than half of their learning comes from the web. These schools are also responsible for their student scores on state exams. Some examples of those schools would be Idaho Digital Learning Academy, Florida Virtual School, and Michigan Virtual School. So let's talk about blended learning. Blended learning is a combination of online learning with other modes of instructional delivery. You will have heard of hybrid classrooms or flipped classrooms. There's usually 50-50 interaction face-to-face and online, but it doesn't always have to be 50-50. It can be a mix of whatever works for the student and the teacher. With flipped classrooms, these classrooms take things that would normally happen in the classroom and make them happen at home, usually the instructional aspect of it. And then students come into the classroom where they can focus on exploration and getting the assistance and working through the activities that they have to do. Students also have more control over the pacing at home. Some program types. With the supplemental, this is where we provide a small number of courses for students who are probably enrolled in a traditional educational program and an online course room. And then also the full-time. And with full-time, everything can be offered. The full program can be offered via the web. Some reasons to consider online learning. The first one, credit recovery, students who might need to make up some unsuccessful coursework, advancement for students who wish to move ahead at their own pace, and then course availability. If students are in areas where certain courses aren't available in the traditional sense, they can take them online. Let's talk a little bit about the funding. You've got district funds, public education funds, and personal funds. District funds, sometimes they've set aside discretionary funds that can be used to pay for online coursework. Public education funds that follow students, like the voucher system. And then personal funds, this can happen with homeschooling, where the parent covers the expenses. Some current trends. Flipped classrooms, which was previously discussed. Also, competency-based education focuses on the demonstration of mastery rather than seat time. And then we have student-centered curriculum, and then gamification. And that's where we take video gaming and their designing and move them into the classroom. Some types of instruction: synchronous, Skyping, FaceTime, Google Hangouts, which are good for personalization, phone calls, which is old-fashioned but still needed for those times that reconnection is necessary, and then instant messaging and texting, which is quick and can leave a record of things for you. Types of asynchronous learning. We've got discussion boards, which are a staple in online learning, and it allows for interaction and collaboration. And then email, which is self-explanatory. We have to have it because the online program cannot be successful without it. Let's talk about ideal candidates. There are some misconceptions about online learning, maybe that it's easy, or that teachers don't really have to do much. They just have to read a few papers, but that's not necessarily the case. With online learning, there are some things that make you more apt to be successful. And so let's talk about students for a little bit. Some ideal candidates and students. Students have to be highly motivated. They have to be independent. They can't need constant communication with someone being right next to them, because it may not be available at all times. And with those asynchronous tasks, they really need to be able to motivate themselves to get work done. They also need to like technology, because you'll be using a lot of it. You need to be self-directed, able to take initiative. You'll often be the teacher when it comes to completing your modules and studying for your exams. And then you need to be proficient in reading and writing because online courses tend to be extensive reading and writing coursework. Let's talk about underrepresented populations. We've got English language learners, special education, and then free and reduced lunch qualifiers. Special education, IEPs, 504s, and other accommodations are also available for online programs. They might look a little different, but they are there. And then For those who are qualifying for free and reduced lunch, we want to see them included in the online program because it can be beneficial as far as advancing or expanding course selection. Ideal candidates for teachers, we want you to be open to new experiences, technology proficient, highly adaptive, and that you value personalized instruction because the online experience is far more personalized than the traditional approach. Let's mention some drawbacks. Teachers can sometimes feel a bit disconnected because you don't have that face-to-face interaction like you would in a traditional classroom. Sometimes unmotivated students may not complete the coursework, and so that's the importance of synchronous learning and synchronous communication so that we can keep students involved. And then sometimes some programs have a high student-to-teacher ratio. But the benefits, advancement, moving forward, credit recovery, and student empowerment. The student takes charge of their learning and they have control over what they're learning and how they're learning it, and at the pace that they need to learn. Also, it saves us money on textbooks and warm bodies. And then there's also the personalized instruction for students where teachers can give one-to-one feedback via web conferencing or in the asynchronous method. But it's open to that. And then teachers are able to focus on the curriculum rather than some traditional classroom management issues that pose some risks and some threats to the learning environment. Types of online tools. Google Apps have tons of things. Docs, Forms, Drives, Google Hangouts. You've got things like Easily.com that offer infographic makers, Poplet that do mind maps and webbing tools, Blackboard, a learning management system, Moodle, BBM for instant messaging, collaboration space, and blogs. And so let's wrap it up a little bit. The demand for online learning is major in the U.S. for K-12 learning, and there are lots of opportunities for students and teachers to be successful with this new approach. And the flexibility for personalized instruction and learning helps quite a bit for students and for teachers. And then here are the citations for the images that I used in this presentation. If you have any other questions, please feel free to contact me, and I will be happy to assist you.